I've been quiet about football the last couple of weeks, mainly because of everything that happened with Mason Greenwood. And I didn't really know what to say. But then Kurt Zouma has covered the front pages, playing for West Ham. And I finally thought, yeah, do you know what? I am going to say something. And this is my opinion. This is my rant on the matter. And I've got to be honest, I think I'm not going to speak about Mason Greenwood. That's currently being dealt with legally. So, there's nothing to say there. Not for me. Mainly, look, Man United did what they did. They suspended him. They've handed it over to the police. Let them get on with it and do that. And this is where I think West Ham have got it wrong with Kurt Zouma. If you haven't watched the video, he basically kicks his cat across the floor and then at a later point is seen slapping the cat after it being handed to him by what I think is his son. But apparently it's his brother who was laughing in the background while filming. And it made me angry, really angry. It just... What possesses somebody to think that that's okay, let alone film it? What is going on in your life that you think you can just treat animals like that? It's just... it pissed me off. It made me so angry. And interestingly, I was watching a Simon Jordan on TalkSport, and he made a point which really is what I wanted to talk about and reflect on. And he was playing devil's advocate. He was talking from the point of devil's advocate, but he was also saying something very valid. Where do we allow people forgiveness? Where is the retribution that you allowed? Because that's an important role in society, isn't it? When you think about it. We can all make mistakes, but we should be allowed to atone for our mistakes. We should be allowed to be forgiven. We should be allowed an opportunity. We should be allowed a second chance. It's... how heinous does a crime have to be before we say no? Are we not allowed to accept their apology? And it had me, and still has me, in a point of moral conflict. Annoyingly, I believe that Simon Jordan is correct. He was right. But the anger in me, after having watched the video and seen what he did to the cat, I was like, no, I can't forgive that. I don't want to forgive that. I can't forgive that. Such dickhead. It's just horrible. Why would you do that to an animal? It's just animal cruelty, full stop. And I think, David Moyes, said, he had to do what was in the best interests of West Ham, the right thing by the club. And as a manager, that is his job, to be fair. I don't actually begrudge him that. I think he was speaking from the heart and being really honest. His job is to pick the best team, not whether people like it who's on the pitch. But I think this is where the club got it wrong. I think the club should have taken it out of his hands. I think the club should have just suspended him. Said, look, this doesn't represent who we are. I'm not saying he should be fired by any stretch of the imagination. I'm not saying he should lose his job. And I can understand when people say that he should. But we're all entitled to second chances. We're all entitled to making mistakes. And I think, like most people, if you've seen it or you've watched it, you will be aware that his apology didn't appear sincere. And no one bloody believes him. They were having too much fun tormenting that cat and torturing that bloody cat, that poor thing. That they're not sorry. They're just sorry they got the reaction. But how thick do you have to be? And I think this is one of the things the Premier League are struggling with at the moment. They have to be held accountable for the action of the players. But how do you get accountability from that many players? How do you manage that? How is that even possible? it's, you can set a code of conduct, you can set a standard, but you can't make people follow it. If you go to anywhere up and down the country, factory, shops, building sites, there's decent people and there's dickheads. There's people that would give you the shirt off their back. There's people you describe as salt of the earth. And there's people that you like, yeah, he's a bit sketchy. He's a wrong 'un. And you limit the amount of time and interaction you have with those people. You don't go out drinking with them. You don't associate with them. You don't like people thinking that you're associating with them. And with good reason. They're not nice people. And that's Kurt Zouma, isn't it? Surely. That's the category he falls in. Is that the category that Mason Greenwood falls into? As this, fall into the category of people behind closed doors knew exactly what he was like behind closed doors, if you understand my speaking. But this is where, like I said, West Ham shouldn't have played him last night. That was the wrong thing to do. The wrong thing to do. And I think in hindsight, there may be a backlash. I can appreciate and understand why West Ham fans are supporting him. Football is tribal. People in football get behind whoever's wearing their shirt. Football fans are passionate people. They love their clubs. Their clubs are more than the players. The clubs mean more than the people on the pitch. The people on the pitch are just a representation of their passion. And if you are a passionate football fan, as many people are, it's very difficult for you to separate what he did and why should the club be punished for that. The club shouldn't be punished for an individual player. And I do actually understand that and appreciate it. In all honesty, Kurt Zouma, as David Moyes pointed out, is one of their star players. He's one of their big game players. They need him. And that's what's wrong with it, isn't it? Because it's actually a financial decision. And you can't blame West Ham for that. It's about defending their place. I think they've now dropped out of the top four. But they're still doing bloody well. They're still a threat. They still have a really good chance of getting into Europe. That's a big deal to any club. Don't talk down West Ham. That's a big deal for Man City, Liverpool, Chelsea, Tottenham, Man United, Arsenal, Leicester, West Ham. Any, and if I've missed out one of the big clubs again, I'm sorry, but you're talking Champions League. And it's not that David Moyes is saying that a Champions League spot is more important than the cat, or more important than the treatment of the cat. That's not what he's saying. And I think actually there was a part of him that wished or regrets being in a position that he had no choice but to pick Zouma. And everyone can say it's the manager's choice. The manager has a choice. The manager has a job to protect the club, to do the right thing for the club. I think the club are the ones that have to make this decision. Effectively, what I'm saying is sometimes the club have to accept the bigger picture is their responsibility, not David Moyes'. David Moyes' sole responsibility is getting players motivated on the pitch to win games. The reputation of the club, the way the club wishes to be perceived, is in the hands of the people that own it. David Moyes' boss and bosses, effectively. But I think that was a wrong call, and I think it was distasteful, and I think it should have been suspended. And another reason it really pisses me off is because there is a lot of focus on when Premier League players don't do it right. Dele Alli with Everton recently, walking onto the pitch like that. And lots of people said, for a guy that's being given a second chance in his career, who hasn't earned it yet, but definitely is full of potential, he walked onto the pitch the wrong way. He wasn't dressed up, wasn't suited and booted, wasn't wearing the Everton garb, which would have been nice, I think. I think it would have been nice. you know. But maybe that's because I'm out of touch and old school. But I don't mean to digress there. One of the things I'd like to say is, because this is the thing we don't talk about, is the nice things that the Premier League do, the nice things that the clubs do, the nice things that the fans do. And this is an absolute credit and a pleasure to say to the Crystal Palace fans. You're fucking legends, you really are. And I seen an interview with Hartlepool United manager Graham Lee, who thanked Crystal Palace fans. His wife, Gemma, has been receiving treatment for cancer. It costs her £60,000 a year. And they did a Just Giving page, which I will tie up in the links. And before a ball was kicked, with the help of Crystal Palace fans, as well as Hartlepool fans, but Crystal Palace fans, they'd raised, before a ball was even kicked at the start of the match, they'd raised £60,000. And that's life-changing money. Life-changing money. Heartfelt. Let's set tribalism aside. You know, that and it's I just thought that was really brilliant, and I have so much respect for the Crystal Palace fans for that, because I thought that was amazing. And today, it's the 9th of February. I've just checked the Just Giving page, and it's currently at 83,439. And in the little captions, there's lots of people just pointing out, hope your wife gets well. Crystal Palace fan. And that's the best part of the Premier League. Some of the clubs have a lot of class, but the fans are the classiest act of all. Well done, Crystal Palace fans. Well done. That's fucking class. It really is. I appreciate all of you.